Okay, we're back for another day of Sichos HaRan. We're up to Sicha Tes Vav, which is in many ways for many people, I think, and for me as well, in certain senses, a very challenging Sicha. Deals with the issues of bittul and emuna, and being able to abstract away from your own seichel, from your own understanding and wisdom and reason and so on and so forth, in order to sink into a deeper place of emuna. And this is very challenging. Rabbi Nachman says, Amar, shehu chachma umalacha gedola lios kamo behema. It's a very great chachma, and it's a very great malacha. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of wisdom, or a lot of knowledge, wisdom. Lios kamo behema, in order to be like a behema, like an animal. V'zeh b'chinas kol asher nasan Hashem chachma, and this is a sense of the pasuk. Kol asher nasan Hashem chachma behema. Everyone, everything that Hashem gives chachma to, behema makes itself like a behema. Through chachma, through an embrace and a development of chachma, one becomes like a behema. And it says a big chachma. It takes chachma, and it is a chachma to become like a behema. And a behema is something positive here. It's positive to be a behema. Although there's the Gemara in Fulham says, distinguishes between, it talks about specifically how being like a behemoth is most grayusa, it's a negative thing. The Gemara there also says it's also a positive thing. U'kamoshamu Rabbi Seinuzal, like Chazal say in Fulham, al pasuk Adamu behema toshia Hashem, that a human being and the behema Hashem saves. Elu b'nei Adam she'ar ormin b'das. These are Rumen. These are people who are awakened in their das, enlightened in their das, energized in their das, because they have harchava sadas, because their das is activated. Therefore, they understand that the way to go is to make yourself like a behemoth, make yourself like a domesticated animal. Moshe Amar Asaf, like Asaf says in Tehillim, Vani Ba'ar V'lo Eda. I am like a fool, I am without knowledge. Behemos hayuti imach. I am like, or I was like a behemo with you. It's a positive. As a result of not having das, or as a result of being foolish without knowledge, I make myself like a behemo. Vayim b'macham acher, and see what Rabbi Nachman says elsewhere. But this is a positive quality. So I think, first of all, it's important to appreciate that, again, being like a behema can be both a negative quality and a positive quality. And the Gemara in Fulham emphasizes that one has to be Adam ubehema toshia Hashem, that there has to be a combination of the qualities of Adam and behema. The Aruch HaShulchan says at the very, very beginning of Orach Chaim, in Siman Aleph and Orach Chaim, he emphasizes that behemos have no yetzer tov. Behemos have no positive drive. They have no ability to elevate themselves. They're completely and totally controlled and subjected and subservient to their instinct, and they respond to their instinct. At the very same time, Adam ubehema toshia Hashem, the combination of the qualities of Adam and behema, this is something that's very valuable. Toshia Hashem, and this is a source of salvation, to be able to combine the qualities of Adam, where yetzer tov and yetzer ra are combined, where we are not entirely subservient to our instincts, but instead can choose how we respond. Ubehema, and including also the quality of behema. What is the quality of behema? The qualities of behema as opposed to a chaya, and you know this from the distinctions between kosher animals and non-kosher animals. The distinctions between a behema and a chaya. A behema, a domesticated animal, is an animal that engages in bittul. It exemplifies bittul. It transcends itself. It transcends its negative instincts. It subserviates itself to its master. A behema, I think, also exemplifies histakkus, satisfaction, contentment. Unlike wild animals that are constantly on the search and constantly seeking and constantly sort of developing, constantly doing, or constantly trying to preserve themselves, prey or predator. Behemoths have a gentileness to them. They have a calmness to them, and that calmness comes from emunah. A behemoth understands where its food is coming from. It goes back to its pen at the end of the day. It goes back to the chicken coop. It goes back to the barn. It goes back to the enclosure, and it finds safety and satisfaction and contentment there. It knows that it's being taken care of. It acts calmly, more or less. It's not frenzied. It's not aggressive, generally, and so on. The qualities in certain way of behemoth is bittul, self-transcendence, self-abnegation, and abstraction away from the negative qualities of ego and self. There's no obvious in the behemoth. There is histatus, there is contentment and satisfaction, there's emunah. And these are important qualities. These are qualities that connect us to an open space within us for the Ratzon Hashem and for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like the Katzker says, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is found wherever we let him in. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is found dafka in places of hanava, places of humility, places of self-transcendence of self and transcendence of ego. And therefore, it's valuable and positive to be like a behemoth. And the way to get there, he says, is through chachma. What's chachma? Chachma is the motion, is the aspect of our intellect and consciousness that partakes of yichud and expansiveness and unity, as opposed to bina, which is the part of our das, the part of our motion that partakes of particularity, of difference, of sense of self, of Metzias HaNivra, as opposed to Metzias HaBore, of the sense that I exist, and because I exist, I'm a thing, and I'm a thing that exists apart from my nature. Chachma is all Metzias HaBore. It's the perspective of everything is a HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Mekamo Shel Olam, and I'm just a part of that constellation. And I take a leap with bittul from Bina into Chachma. I'm mevatel myself to the unity of Chachma. So bittul, this is histatus, because if I'm mevatel myself to the unity of everything within Chachma and through Chachma, and then I'm content with the way things are, and I can find contentment with the way things are. And I have emunah, I have trust in the thing that's bigger than me. That's always the definition of what Chachma is. It's partaking of and accessing a motion that is all unifying, all encompassing, which is beyond the particularities and logic and rationality of the human mind. And so to make myself into a behemoth and to connect through bittul and through histatus and through emunah, the way into that is chachma, to engage chachma. And this takes malacha gedolah. It takes a lot of work. It's very, very major and intense and lifelong work to be able to slowly, step by step, find greater bittul and more self-transcendence and more sinking into chachma. Because as we've been saying for quite a few sichos until now, there's an important element of taking a leap of faith when it comes to emunah. The leap of faith means I'm taking a leap into something that I don't understand, that I'm not in control of, that I don't fully appreciate. And to be able to move into that space, which is the space of chachma, which is the space of unity, as opposed to bina and particularity, it's the space of generality and holiness as opposed to pratios. It's the space of yichud as opposed to the space of hirud. That takes an incredible amount of work, because as long as we're here, we are a conflict between a Yetzer Tov and a Yetzer Hara, between an ego and an awareness of a thing that's larger than ourselves, which gives us humility. And this takes a lot of work. So there are positive aspects to being like a behemoth. The Gemara also tells us there are negative aspects to being like a behemoth. That's not what Rebbe Nachman is talking about here. We're sinking into the positive aspects of behemoth, of bittul, histatus, and emunah. And the path there is through notion of chachma and through hard work to really draw that chachma down into the way we act, the way we think, the way we feel. And then hopefully Toshi Hashem. Have a wonderful day.